You're here because something far deeper than chance has guided you. The words forming on this screen are not random. They are the residue of a signal your consciousness has already detected. Like a whisper traveling across the quantum field, this truth has been waiting for you, and only you could find it. Most scroll endlessly, blind to the hidden pulse beneath the noise. But you, your awareness, locked onto a frequency that millions pass by. That's why you're here, standing at the event horizon of your own becoming. Feel it in your chest, the gentle tremor of recognition. It's the sense that the world is about to bend, the way light refracts when it meets water. Your reality has reached a collapse point, where potential is no longer content to linger in superposition. A seed can only remain dormant for so long before the husk splits and the roots demand their place in the soil. You are at that moment now, the cracking point where silence turns into sound, where thought becomes embodied, where the hidden begins to insist on visibility. For years, you've been searching for proof, refreshing screens, replaying conversations, scanning the smallest details of your days for signs that the universe has not forgotten you. Each closed door pressed against your spirit like a test, as if the quantum field itself wanted to know how long you would hold your coherence without collapsing into despair. And somehow, despite the weight of invisibility, you kept your signal alive. That endurance alone has carried you here. There is no force greater than surrender, not resignation, not defeat, but the surrender that opens your grip and lets the river pull you forward. Forcing collapses timelines too soon, like yanking a bud from the branch before it blooms. But surrender aligns you with synchronicity. It lets the current carve the path, while you allow yourself to be carried, not passively, but in radical trust. This is the posture of emergence, the way a sunrise cannot be hurried, yet cannot be stopped. Every delay you've endured was not absence. It was preparation. The vacuum state before manifestation is not empty. It hums with infinite potential, waiting for your coherence to spark constructive interference. That's why you felt the strange déjà vu, the endless loops that seemed to repeat without explanation. It wasn't punishment, it was the field calibrating you for the precise alignment you're stepping into now. Right here, in this breath, you are standing on the threshold of a phase transition. The old timeline flickers like a dying signal, while the new one begins to shimmer into view. All of existence is leaning forward, waiting to see if you will step fully through the portal that only your consciousness could locate. And as you exhale, know this: not everyone can handle this truth, but you can, because it was written into your very awareness before you ever arrived here. This is the inevitability of the seed becoming the tree, of the wave collapsing into form, of destiny finally finding its voice through you. And now that you've felt that tremor of inevitability, you start to recognize the patterns that have stalked you like echoes, the loops, the strange cycles where different faces wore the same lesson, where time bent back on itself, as if replaying your own test of coherence. You've lived through stretches where every day felt like a distorted reflection of the last, a hall of mirrors designed not to confuse you, but to refine your awareness. Think of the times you checked your phone, refreshing again and again, as if an unseen signal might break through in the form of an email, a message, a notification, but the silence was louder than words. The delay was teaching you how to perceive beyond evidence, how to sense the unseen frequency, rather than clinging to what your eyes could register. That was never failure, it was calibration. You know the feeling of déjà vu, that eerie sense that you've stood here before. It wasn't just memory misfiring, it was the quantum field replaying a loop, showing you the pattern so you could learn to choose differently. Every repeated argument, every job that felt the same as the last, every relationship that cycled back into the same unresolved knot, all of it was the observer loop, coaxing you to stop collapsing into old outcomes. You were being trained to step out of the loop and witness it from the outside, not drown in its repetition. This is why you sometimes felt time itself was broken. Hours stretched like elastic, or vanished in a blink. Those distortions were not accidents. They were hints that linear time is not as rigid as you were taught to believe. You've been brushing against the edges of the quantum fabric, glimpsing how your perception bends reality. The frustration you felt, that deep ache of when will it finally happen, Was the residue of your consciousness bumping against walls that were never really solid, only vibrational? You've noticed how longing changes its flavor. At first, it's sharp, desperate, full of pushing, but after enough cycles, something shifts. The ache softens, and the energy of wanting transforms into the energy of receiving. That moment when you no longer beg, but breathe, is when the field responds. Because the quantum vacuum does not bend to force, it bends to coherence. So ask yourself, how many times did the universe place you back into the same loop, only to see whether you would choose differently this time? How many times did you try to wrestle the timeline into shape, only to discover that struggle only produced more distortion? You thought it was punishment, but it was actually refinement, the pressure cooker that forges coherence out of chaos. These loops have not been wasted years. They have been the forge. Every repetition has been dissolving the residue of old identities, pushing you toward identity coherence. What feels like exhaustion is actually emergence. The endless refreshing of life's screen wasn't about waiting for proof, it was about teaching you that you are the proof. The signal you've been waiting for has always been inside your awareness, learning how to stabilize itself. And here you are now, standing in the aftermath of all those loops, no longer trapped inside them, but seeing their architecture clearly. You're not caught in repetition anymore, you are the witness of repetition. That shift alone collapses the old circuit. That shift alone means you've already crossed into the next sequence of becoming. Notice how the air feels different when you no longer fight the loop. There is a subtle weight that lifts, a pressure that once pinned you now beginning to dissolve. This is the sign of the upgrade, the movement from forcing to aligning, from struggling to surrendering. The quantum field has always been present around you, but now your awareness begins to tune itself to its coherence. Think of it like a song you've always faintly heard beneath the static. Before, the noise of fear, doubt, and impatience drowned it out. You thought you had to make the melody louder by sheer will, but the truth was simpler. You only had to quiet your distortion. That silence, that stillness, allows the music of your own becoming to swell. This is constructive interference, your resonance syncing with the universe's rhythm, so the amplitude of possibility grows. You have lived long enough in superposition, carrying countless versions of yourself like shadows. The ambitious one, the broken one, the hopeful one, the doubting one, all coexisting in your inner field. But superposition is not meant to last forever. There comes a moment when the wave must collapse into form, when potential chooses embodiment. And that collapse point is happening now, not through force, but through coherence. You feel it in the way synchronicities multiply. The right phrase falls out of a stranger's mouth at the exact second you need to hear it. A number repeats itself on clocks and receipts as if to whisper, "Stay aligned." Even the obstacles are timed perfectly, showing up not to block you but to sculpt you. These aren't coincidences, they are the fingerprints of the quantum field, confirming that your timeline is stabilizing. And yet, you know the temptation to return to struggle. It feels safer to push, to hustle, to prove, but forcing is decoherence. It scrambles the signal, collapses possibilities prematurely, and throws you back into loops you've already outgrown. The upgrade is in learning to hold coherence, even in uncertainty, to remain still while the timeline is reorganizing itself, knowing that what is unseen is more real than what has yet appeared. Think of the seed again. You don't dig it up every morning to check if it's sprouting. You trust the soil, the darkness, the unseen processes beneath. In the same way, your desires are not dormant. They are restructuring themselves in hidden dimensions, preparing to pierce the surface. Your surrender does not delay them, it accelerates their coherence. This is why your body has been buzzing lately, why your dreams feel charged with coded symbols, why conversations feel like they're happening in two layers, the surface and the field beneath. Your DNA is listening. The structure of your being is tuning itself to hold more light, more coherence, more resonance. It is not metaphorical, it is the actual sensation of an organism preparing to carry a larger frequency. The upgrade is not something coming from outside. It is the collapse of noise, the alignment of identity, the stabilization of your own field. You are no longer trying to prove you're ready. You are simply becoming the proof. And as you let this awareness settle, you realize that every collapse point carries both risk and gift. Risk, because the old identity dies. Gift, because the new one emerges in clarity. You are stepping into that razor's edge now, where hesitation dissolves and coherence becomes your only language. The shift deepens as you begin to recognize that this isn't just about personal breakthrough. The field itself has been waiting for you, like a lock anticipating the right key. Out of billions of consciousness streams flowing through this planet, yours has carried a signal distinct enough to be recognized by the quantum vacuum. That's why synchronicity seems to bend itself around your path. It isn't random, it's resonance, a confirmation that your awareness is entangled with something greater. Feel how your very presence bends space. When you enter a room, conversations subtly change course. People sense something they can't name, as though their own timelines briefly wobble under your field. You've noticed it, the lingering stares, the strange confessions strangers offer you, the way others feel, both drawn to you and unsettled by you. This isn't charisma, it's coherence. Your consciousness broadcasts a frequency strong enough to tug at the hidden codes inside others. You are not just a participant in reality. You are a node, a luminous transmitter entangled with the desires you've carried since before memory. Think of it like a quantum particle paired across time. What you long for is already vibrating on the other side, waiting for you to hold coherence long enough for the entanglement to reveal itself. That is why your desires never fully leave you, no matter how much you've tried to release them. They are not fantasies, they are entangled echoes calling you home. But this role is not without weight. To be chosen consciousness means you cannot hide inside the ordinary. Comfort will never fully hold you because the field insists on stretching you. Even your restlessness is sacred. It is the universe's way of steering you back to coherence when you've drifted into patterns too small for your design. There is a responsibility coded into your awareness. When you collapse into self-doubt, the field around you wobbles. But when you hold identity coherence, everything near you begins to stabilize. Family lines, friendships, even strangers at the edge of your orbit, all are subtly shifted by your resonance. This is not ego, it's physics. Morphic fields respond to the one who maintains coherence under pressure, and you've already tasted the truth of this. Remember the moments when you spoke a sentence without thinking, and it landed in someone like a prophecy? Or when your calm in chaos steadied others without effort? That's what happens when your frequency runs ahead of the collective. When you embody the coherence others crave, they don't always thank you. Sometimes they resist, reject, or even fear you. But beneath that resistance is recognition. You hold a signal they have not yet learned to carry. So understand this, your role is not to convince or perform. It is simply to remain aligned, to let your coherence broadcast itself into the field. You are a hidden transmitter, a lighthouse disguised as a single soul. The quantum field doesn't need your performance, it needs your presence. And that presence, stabilized, becomes impossible to ignore. Which means this truth, your truth, was never meant for everyone. It could only find the one consciousness prepared to carry it. And now, you feel the weight of that realization pressing gently against your heart. You are not just living your life, you are entangled with destiny itself. The air feels charged now, almost electric, because the promise is drawing closer. You sense it in the way your days no longer feel ordinary. Even the smallest interactions seem coded, as though the universe is weaving subtle hints into everything around you. This is not imagination, it's the ripple effect of a cosmic window opening and you standing in direct alignment with it. You've carried this longing for years, maybe lifetimes, and now the field is whispering, the time is near. You may not see the full outline yet, but you can feel the acceleration, like a storm forming miles away, pulling the air in strange new directions. That pressure in your chest, that urgency in your bones, it's not anxiety. It's the resonance of your DNA preparing to restructure itself for what's coming. Because yes, your very cells are listening. The double helix inside you is not a static code, it's an antenna. And lately, it's been humming louder. You've felt it in restless nights, in dreams that refuse to fade, in sudden surges of energy or waves of exhaustion. These fluctuations are not random, they are the tremors of DNA restructuring, making space for more light, more data, more coherence. The old identity could not hold the future that's arriving, so the upgrade is happening at the root of your being. This is why delay has been relentless. If you had received everything you once begged for, you would have crumbled under its weight. The universe withheld not to punish you, but to prepare you. Each closed door has been a hidden act of mercy, stretching your coherence, strengthening your vessel. Now, the mercy is shifting to momentum. The field is ready to deliver, but only if you can trust the timing enough not to grasp too soon. Feel the urgency, but don't mistake it for panic. This is the tension before breakthrough, the same way an arrow trembles before release. The pullback is what gives you range. Every setback you've endured has been storing potential energy inside you, and the bowstring is nearly at its limit. What happens next is not gradual, it's release, it's flight. It's acceleration so sudden that your past will feel like a faded dream. And here's the paradox. The more inevitable the breakthrough becomes, the more the illusions try to distract you. Old loops will flare, voices will rise against you, shadows will attempt to convince you nothing is happening, but that resistance is the clearest sign that you are close. When DNA shifts, the old self fights for survival. When a new timeline readies itself, the old one throws its loudest tantrum. You cannot be fooled, so breathe into this moment. Trust that your frequency has already locked onto the alignment. The universe is not asking you to make it happen, it's asking you to remain coherent until it unfolds. The phase transition is imminent, and you are standing at its threshold. The promise is real, and the urgency is not to act frantically, but to stay so rooted in trust that no distraction can pull you back. This is the razor's edge of becoming. You are seconds from collapse into the life that has been echoing toward you for years. And the truth is undeniable. You were built for this moment. And now the moment arrives where your awareness must not just listen, but declare itself. Every upgrade in consciousness requires a signal back to the field, a way of collapsing possibility into embodiment. The field has carried you this far, shown you the loops, pressed you into coherence, but now it waits for your seal. The action is not grand or public. It is simple, but sacred. Think of how the quantum field responds to observation. When you look, reality arranges itself. When you declare, vibration locks into form. This is how a timeline stabilizes, through the feedback loop between consciousness and the field. And right now, that loop is open, humming, waiting for your signal. Your role in this moment is not to strive, not to prove, not to ask, but to anchor, to stand still enough that your identity coherence can declare, I am ready. That phrase is not just words, it is the vibration of readiness, the resonance that collapses the waiting. And when you write it, when you leave it imprinted, it becomes more than thought. It becomes resonance shared. So here is your ritual. Type this phrase in the space where the collective can see it. Let your fingers become the transmitter, your awareness become the signal, your presence collapse the field into visibility. Write, I am ready to receive what's already mine. And if you feel the pull, let the number 77 follow it as seal, a numeric code that carries the vibration of alignment and completion. This is not superstition, it is coherence embodied. The field bends more easily when your awareness does more than whisper silently. When you leave a mark, when you declare your readiness in public, even to strangers who don't know your journey, you amplify the morphic resonance. You turn personal alignment into collective vibration. Do not underestimate this. A single declaration at the right moment ripples outward, crossing borders of geography and time. Just as a particle entangled in one place can instantaneously affect its twin across the cosmos, your words here ripple into timelines you haven't even touched yet. Your declaration is not for algorithm, not for validation, it is for coherence, for collapse, for anchoring your field so firmly that no distraction can loosen it. And as you feel this truth settle into you, notice the energy shift in your body. Your breath steadies, your chest feels lighter, your spine straightens almost without effort. These are the somatic confirmations that your inner alignment is broadcasting itself outward. Your body is a living antenna, and right now, you've chosen to transmit. This ritual is not about proving yourself, it is about sealing yourself. And as you leave that phrase, as you declare it once, you step across a subtle but irreversible threshold. You are no longer only receiving this message, you are answering it. And that answer shifts everything. The moment you sealed your readiness, something larger began to stir. What you thought was a personal alignment instantly rippled outward, like a stone striking the still surface of water. This is the hidden truth. Your coherence does not belong only to you. The quantum field is not isolated, it is shared. And the instant you stabilized your frequency, the morphic resonance surrounding humanity felt the shift. You might imagine this as light flickering on in a vast, interconnected grid. One node activates, and suddenly the entire network hums a little brighter. That's what happens when your timeline locks into alignment. Others, even those who don't know your name, feel the subtle ease of your frequency. A stranger may breathe easier today without knowing why. A friend may make a braver choice tomorrow, unaware that your coherence lent them strength. This is not metaphor, it is the silent physics of consciousness in resonance. You've likely already glimpsed it. Moments when someone confessed they felt calmer around you, even when you said little. Times when people shifted their decisions after a conversation with you, as though their compass had realigned. You thought it was chance, but it was resonance. Your coherence broadcast itself, and their field responded. This is what it means to carry a chosen signal. Your breakthrough feeds the collective. And here lies the paradox. Your liberation is personal, yet never private. The freedom you claim for yourself opens corridors for countless others. Every time you hold coherence under pressure, you write a new possibility into the field. You expand the blueprint of what humanity can endure, what it can awaken into, what it can embody. This is why your suffering has been so exacting. The loops, the delays, the closed doors, they weren't only for your growth. They were rehearsals for stewardship, because the energy you stabilize now doesn't end with you. It travels, it repeats, it echoes. Morphic resonance ensures that the path you carve becomes easier for those who walk after you. Your breakthrough is not yours alone. It becomes a frequency that can be borrowed, a template others unconsciously replicate. Think of it like trails in a forest. The first traveler carves through thick brush, scratches skin on thorns, fights the resistance of nature, but once that path exists, others can walk more easily. Your timeline shift is that trailblazing act. You carry scratches no one sees, scars no one understands, but because you endured, the way is clearer for those who follow. That is morphic resonance in action, the unseen inheritance you leave to the collective simply by becoming coherent. So as you breathe now, realize the magnitude of what you've done. You are not just aligning with your destiny, you are expanding the possibilities of human destiny itself. Your declaration has become a tuning fork, vibrating across invisible corridors, awakening echoes in those who may never hear your voice, but will somehow feel your shift. And as you hold this awareness, notice the sensation in your body, a warmth in your chest, a subtle lift in your spine, the knowing that you are part of something vast, something ancient, something sacred. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone. The field has always been collective, and your light is now a part of its eternal song. The resonance you've awakened is not just an idea, it's something your body now carries. You feel it in the rhythm of your breath, the subtle shift in your posture, the way your gait has changed even if no one else can name why. Embodiment is the bridge. What was once a whisper in your mind, what was once a flicker in the field, now presses itself into muscle and bone. Notice how your inhale feels different. It doesn't just draw air, it draws coherence. Each breath becomes a tether to the quantum field, stabilizing your awareness in the present moment. And your exhale? It isn't only release, it's transmission. With every breath you take, you are broadcasting a frequency. Whether you're speaking aloud or walking silently through a crowded street, you are no longer merely thinking resonance, you are radiating it. Your spine straightens without effort. Shoulders loosen as though the weight of old loops finally dissolves. Even the way you place your feet is different. You walk not as someone rushing against the river, but as someone carried by it. There is no drag, no thrashing, only the flow of being moved by a current larger than yourself. Others may notice it as confidence, but it is more than that. It is identity coherence expressed somatically, and your voice, listen to how it changes. When you speak now, there is a resonance that cuts deeper than words. People may not remember the sentences you form, but they will remember the vibration they felt in your presence. That is your frequency, anchoring itself into sound, shaping the morphic field through the simplest syllables. Even silence becomes eloquent when your coherence is embodied. This is why embodiment matters. Without grounding, resonance drifts away like mist. But when your body carries it, coherence becomes unavoidable. The field doesn't just hum around you, it hums through you. Every movement becomes a signal. Every pause becomes transmission. You are no longer chasing synchronicity. You are becoming the generator of it. Think of the river again. Before, you fought the current, exhausting yourself as you tried to force direction. Now you float, not passively, but with trust. You let the water carry you where it knows to go, and in that surrender, you travel further and faster than struggle ever allowed. This is the truth of embodiment. You don't lose control, you gain alignment. And as you embody this resonance, you start to notice the world responding differently. Doors open without knocking, conversations flow without effort. Even obstacles lose their sting, because you no longer meet them as walls, but as invitations to redirect the current. What once felt like resistance now feels like choreography. The field moves with you, not against you, because your body has become its antenna. So stand here for a moment and notice your breath, your stance, your voice. Feel how every cell resonates like a finely tuned instrument, broadcasting into the invisible. You are coherence in motion now, and with every step you take, the quantum field organizes itself around you, not as command, but as resonance. This is embodiment, and it is irreversible. The deeper you embody coherence, the more the pressure builds. You can feel it now, like standing in a chamber where the air is thickening, pressing against your skin, demanding you hold steady. This is the threshold of DNA breakthrough, the place where old structures strain and crack, where new identity strains to emerge. It is not comfortable, but it is sacred. Think of water as it nears boiling. For a long time, it only warms, rippling but still familiar. Then, in an instant, the phase transition strikes, and liquid becomes vapor. That change cannot be undone. You are in that exact moment now, the molecules of your identity trembling, rearranging, preparing to leap into a form unrecognizable to who you once were. But here's the danger. Decoherence lurks at the edge. The quantum field tests your readiness not by punishing you, but by tempting you to scatter. Doubt rises, old voices whisper, circumstances appear chaotic, designed to convince you nothing is shifting. This is decoherence, the unraveling of your signal back into noise. If you yield to it, the phase transition stalls. If you hold coherence, the breakthrough completes. This is why your body feels caught between extremes. One moment you surge with clarity, the next you collapse into exhaustion. You feel as though timelines overlap, glimpses of the life you've waited for, immediately followed by echoes of the one you've left behind. This is not failure. This is the field vibrating between realities, pressing you to choose which one you will stabilize. Your DNA is listening. It doesn't just code biology, it codes identity, and right now, it is undergoing restructuring, like a symphony retuning its instruments before the concert begins. The buzzing in your body, the tingles along your skin, the restless sleep, they are not accidents. They are the tremors of transformation, the strain of old blueprints dissolving so the new pattern can emerge. The pressure you feel is proof. If nothing were changing, there would be no resistance. The intensity is not punishment, it is confirmation. Just as coal must endure crushing weight to become diamond, your essence is being compressed into clarity. The old self cannot cross this threshold, so it fights to remain, pulling you toward hesitation. But hesitation only feeds delay. Coherence propels emergence, so hold steady. Breathe through the contractions of becoming. Remember that a phase transition is not gradual, it's sudden. The water does not politely ask before boiling. It erupts. Your timeline will not shift with a whisper, it will crack open with inevitability. All that's being asked of you is to hold your resonance long enough for the collapse to complete. You are not waiting anymore, you are mid-transition. And on the other side of this pressure lies the irreversible lock of a new timeline. The old will not be able to follow you. The loops will dissolve, the whispers will fade, and your identity coherence will anchor into permanence. This is the narrowest point of the passage, and yet it is the most pregnant with promise. Hold your breath, hold your ground, hold your coherence. You are seconds away from emergence, and now the pressure breaks, and the silence feels different. The vibration in your chest has steadied, not because the field has gone quiet, but because you have tuned so precisely that noise no longer reaches you. This is the other side of the threshold, the place where your timeline has locked, where identity coherence no longer flickers but shines. Feel how your awareness stretches. It is no longer only your life you sense. It is the pulse of the planet itself, moving in rhythm with you. Your coherence has become more than survival, it has become a beacon. Just as a lighthouse cuts through fog to guide unseen ships, your frequency radiates through the collective, reminding others that awakening is possible. You are no longer the seeker of signals, you are the signal. Every step you take from here will ripple outward. Conversations will carry more weight. Presence will heal more than words ever could. Strangers will be shifted by the field you emanate, even if they never know your name. Because when one consciousness locks into coherence, the entire quantum field reorganizes. That is the hidden power you now embody. Understand this clearly. Your journey through loops, through delay, through collapse and surrender was never just for you. It was the training ground for a mission larger than you imagined. You were chosen to carry a frequency rare enough, steady enough, to alter not just your destiny but the fabric of destiny itself. Your awakening is humanity's inheritance. This is why not everyone could handle this truth. Because it demands surrender, it demands coherence, it demands a willingness to let the old self die so the new can emerge. Most will avoid that passage, but you found it. Your consciousness aligned with the frequency, and here you stand on the other side. So breathe this in. You are no longer in waiting. You are in becoming. Your timeline has shifted, your DNA has restructured, your mission has begun. The observer loop has collapsed into form, and that form is you, awakened, aligned, unstoppable. Carry this with reverence. Walk as though the universe itself recognizes you because it does. Speak as though your voice reorganizes the field because it will. Live as though your coherence reshapes futures because it already has. And let the prophetic truth settle deep into your being. Not everyone can handle this truth. Only your consciousness could find it. And now that you have, the world will never be the same.